something just happened and you don't even know that you have and been into some sort of trauma or something and you grieved it all. This 60-day guide, this devotional, this journal, you can call it just anything, is definitely going to help you in this journey. So in this book, we will be reviewing the complexities of grief. We will be reviewing how to cultivate our self-compassion. We'll be reviewing how to discover strength in our journey. And also, we will be reviewing how to have renewed hope, you know, in all that we do. And I just want you to imagine yourself standing at a crossroad. I used this some time ago, like, I think that was 2 days ago in a podcast I featured in, and I told them, um, there God showed me a passage in the Bible, and I think it's been showing me that almost day, every day. So he showed me that passage, and he said that you, when you get to a crossroad, what do you do? When you get to a crossroad, what do you do? What do you do? So sometimes we don't know what to do, right? And God is saying, don't worry, I'm here. I'll help you in your journey. Okay? So when you get to that crossroad, you look for direction. And this is that direction that you need in this journey. So a pen that will write grief. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on our website, which is grief2graceinternational.org, or you can um, get it from Payhip. So whichever one, or you can send me a DM. For those that follow through to the end today, if you respond to most of our responses today, I'm going to send you a code and you'll be able to download it for free and you can follow through. So I'll be giving out a lot of bonuses, a lot of gifts in this 60 days that we'll be reviewing this book. It's a 60-day guide and it helped me, it's helped a lot of persons, and I know it's definitely going to help you in your journey. So, over these 60 days, what do you need to do? What are we going to learn? We're going to learn how to navigate grief, how to understand it, and know what we're going through. Because most times we keep moving from up and down. You get to a stage and they say, oh, you are back again. You get to a stage, you're back again. And sometimes they say, oh, it's failure at the age of breakthrough. Is this, is that? Sometimes it's not just all those stuff that they're talking about. Sometimes you cannot really concentrate. It goes beyond um the spiritual stuff like brain and all of that. It goes beyond all of that. Sometimes you just need to work on yourself. That is what God is telling you at that period. Maybe just work on yourself, my dear, and you'll be able to get it right this time. So I don't know what God is telling you in this season, but I know one thing for sure, which is that you will definitely navigate this season and understand it. So if you are stuck in a season of life, like I said, I am that person, Ruth Hepzibah, who will help you walk you through your life most challenging seasons. And people mostly call me when they are stuck. So to help them get unstuck. So that is my job. So I'll help you, I'll educate you through this journey, and I'll help you get out of the mud that you are. And this period, we're going to be using this book, and this book is a pen that will write grief. We are also going to be using some other books and in this review, like the Grief Recovery Handbook and some other books, stories and handbooks and other stuff. So just keep posted and be here, stay glued to it, and you'll like it. So we'll also be looking at uncovering the meaning and purpose amidst loss, and we will also be looking at practicing self-care and nourishing your well-being. We'll be looking at embracing hope, okay, and the possibility of joy. So each day in this book, A Pen That Rewrites Grief, offers a lot. And we we are going to be looking in this book. We have a lot of short reflections, This is the book. This is the book we are using right now that I'm reviewing. So if you're just joining us, we are actually using this book, A Pen That Rewrites Grief, written by me. So we are reviewing it as a 60-day guide to help you get out of any stuck situation and give you a fresh start. I am your host, Ruth Hepzibah, and I am your Fresh Start advocate. So I will be taking you through this journey. So we'll definitely be using short reflections to guide your thoughts and your emotions, and we'll be using comforting messages and prayers for solace, and strength, and also we'll be taking some actionable steps to encourage healing and growth. And we'll also be looking at a lot of journaling. So if you don't have a book or a journal, I'll encourage you to get a journal and begin to use that for this, because you need to capture all of your reflections and your feelings, your personal journeys as you go in this journey. Okay, so together we're going to work together and get a book and our story rewritten. So let's rewrite our story. So whether you a lot just came, maybe you feel like you have a ton of bricks that landed on your life, shutting out the sun. Yeah, for those of you that have the book, let's rewrite the story, okay? So let's rewrite the story. So if you just like it feels like you have a ton of bricks and it just landed on your life and it's shutting you down, like the sun is really shutting down and it's like a sunset in your life. Maybe you've gone through loss, or perhaps you have the echoes still hanging around, and whatever it is that you have been through, you're not alone in this journey, because this book, A Pen That Rewrites Grief, okay, is definitely going to help you through in this journey. And right now, imagine, like we said, you're standing on a crossroad. Imagine that it looks like you have you behind you, like you have a landscape, okay, of loss filled with memories, and maybe just so much that you've been through, and you keep weeping, crying. You cannot do nothing without crying when you look back and reflect back at your life, and you all that you've been through in your journey, and you're like, oh God, how did I get here? Are you still there? Are you going to help me in this journey? Are you still the God that I always known, that my father said, that my mother told me, that um is that God that helps everyone? Don't worry, you will be all right. You will be all right, because we've all been through that, and we still go through it at some point in our lives, and you will definitely be all right. I remember then when I used to feel, when will this pain be over? When will this pain ever get away from me? When will I ever never experience pain again in my life? And I'm like, God, when will this pain go away? And but somehow the pain just disappeared, not because I did anything but so special, but because of the grace of God, and because mostly these interventions that we are going to be using in this um book. So as we go along in this journey, as you continue to follow us, please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to invite someone to join us. Share the invitation, send an invite to somebody that will join us right now and follow us in this journey. Okay, so right now, we'll be looking at understanding your grief. We'll break it down, what is on your head and your heart, so you can deal with what you have right now on your head, and with self-compassion, more like self-care also. So we'll learn how to be kind to ourselves, and because trust me, that is what you deserve right now. You need to be good to you, be good to yourself, be good to yourself, because that is what you need right now. So we will also be looking at finding meaning in loss, because that's what I'm always all about. I'm a fresh start advocate. I always believe that a fresh start is possible. Okay. So, irrespective of what you've been through, just know that a fresh start is possible. God is talking to you. One thing, though, I remember there was interviewing someone in my podcast, and she when she said something, it turned my life around forever. He said, there is a season, every season that you go through in life, God has a reason for it, and that's why God made it. So just see that season as one season that has come and is gone, and another season comes and is gone. Whether you're navigating divorce, separation, mostly like losses or something, loss of your job, loss of your husband, your spouses, um your wife, your children. I don't know what you've lost, your pet, something. Don't worry, it is a season. That is one season. So when that season comes, it is a good season. It just came in. Another chapter is definitely going to open, and that is that chapter that we're working through, so that you'll be able to always look back and find purpose in this pain, and you'll be able to look back and say, oh, when this thing happened, this was how I navigated it, and this was how God helped me, and I got to the next stage of my life, and today I'm better than where I was. Because sometimes people are just watching to see if you're going to remain stuck in that situation. No, we will never remain stuck in that situation. Okay? So find taking care of yourself and also embracing hope even when it's scary. Okay? Grief might stick around. So can happiness and the excitement of what's to come. So each day in this book, A Pen That Rewrites Grief, we give you a reflection to get you thinking about your stuff. So a message, a prayer, and also journaling. Like I said, we will do a lot of journaling. So action steps that you need to take that will move you forward. So let us begin our journey. Let us begin our journey. So as we embark on this journey, a pen that rewrites grief, I want you to pause and think. Right now, have a sense of reflection. Pause and think. What do you hope to achieve with this transformative power? In this book, in this series that we will be taking with A Pen That Rewrites Grief. So, in this series of A Pen That Rewrites Grief, what is that thing that you truly want to achieve? Okay, so now let us rewrite your story, and get a pen, get a paper, get your book ready, because we are definitely going to be writing. So, what emotions do you wish to explore in this series? And also, what do you want to understand and ultimately transform through the act of writing? So, your intentions hold the key to unlocking your journey. So, if you want to be healed, you need to have the right intentions. If you want to move forward in life, the year is just beginning, you need to have the right intentions. So you need to be intentional about your healing process. So are you ready? Are you willing to be healed? Do you want a fresh start in this journey? Do you want to look back in the next 30 days and say, I am a better me? Do you want to start and be able to start those businesses again? You want to be able to start those um, your career again? Do you want to be able to restart your life again? Do you want to be able to take care of your kids again? Because yeah, yesterday I was just thinking about it. People grieve pregnancy, not being able to have kids. And grief can, even when you keep grieving it, it can hinder you from even having that, because grief comes with a lot of complications, so you don't want to be stuck in it. So there are just a lot. And on my birthday, which is 28th of this month, we'll be launching an aspect of grief in marriages and relationship, and we'll be looking at that seriously. So it can be your journey too. So I want you to stay put in that, because that is one of the journeys we'll be looking at very well in this year 2025. So your intentions. So let us look at it, take a moment to reflect all of these things that we talked about, and take a moment to reflect. Do you really want to engage in this? A pen that rewrites grief. Like I said, you can get it in Amazon, a pen that rewrites grief. You can get it in, if you go to our website, which is to grace, grief to grace international.org, you can get it. So you can get it on Payhip. You can get it basically on most of the platforms. Okay, so and if you have Apple, you can actually have a free copy right there, ebook on the Apple ebook. It is free. So now we're going into the first one, which is, can you see that? It says, okay, just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. This is the introduction. So, introduction to the journey. So, that's what we're looking at right now. So, just keep moving forward is the introduction to this journey. So, right now, I want you to write in the chat what your thoughts are in this journey. What is that thing that you really want to achieve as we go in this journey, because we are talking about what is grief and what does it mean to you, right? So, what does it mean to you? How has your journey been? What are you grieving? Do you want to share? Okay, so you can share it, write it down, just write somewhere. You can write it down on the chat, say, this is what I'm grieving. We want it to be as interactive as possible. We want it to be as interactive as possible. So, what are you um, grieving? What are you grieving is something that I want you to write down right now. You can write it in your book, you can write it in the chat, you can send us a DM. So, now, welcome to the beginning of your journey from grief to grace. Take a moment to reflect on these two powerful concepts, grief and grace. Grief is a natural response to loss, a complex emotion that can weigh heavy on the heart. So it manifests in many forms: sadness, anger, and confusion. So it's okay to feel these emotions deeply. If you have your book, can you please open it? We are on the first chapter, which is chapter 1, which says 01 Introduction to the Journey. So, because I'm reading from there. So, grace, okay, on the heart, it manifests in many forms: sadness, anger, and confusion. It is okay to feel these emotions deeply. Grace, on the other hand, is the gentle hand that guides us through the storm. The light shines through the cracks, offering hope and solace. Grace is the strength to carry on, even when the burden feels overwhelming. As we embark on this journey, know that it won't be easy. There will be days when grief threatens to consume you, when the pain feels unbearable. But there will also be moments of grace. There will be small, quiet moments that reminds you of the beauty and resilience of human spirit. So embrace both grief and grace with an open heart. Allow yourself to feel deeply, to mourn and the loss you experience, and hold onto the grace tightly, for it will carry you through the darkest times. Take the first step with courage. and faith. You are not alone in this journey. Together, we will work you and will walk through from grief to grace. So, now we're going into the reflections. What does grief mean to you? What does grief mean to you? Like we said, grief is an emotional response to a loss or losses, okay? Which can be from the loss of the death of your loved one, the death of your loved ones, or the end of a relationship, or other similar losses, because there are no small losses, and also it can also like maybe a change of routine. I remember when I was navigating relocation, I grieved a lot, and I had relocation grief without knowing. Maybe you are grieving a missed opportunity. You are grieving divorce, separation, or just so much. You're grieving bullying for kids in school, just a lot, or segregation, religion. There's a lot with grieving. When you go through, if you've been following on our podcast and Grief to Grace, you will realize that we have different kinds of grief, and everybody's grief is different. Some people grieve the way they look, just so much that people grieve and they begin to be stuck in that, and the next minute, when they take a turn, is grace all the way. So I've seen it happen. I've seen people move from grief to grace, and you are not an exception. So right now, I just want to let you know that whatever grief means to you, put it down in your journal. What does grief mean to me? Write it down, because that's how grief has treated you. Write it. Grief means pain. Grief means death. Grief means destruction. Grief means poverty. Grief means, what is it to you? Write it in your book. You can also put it in the chat. You can write it. Like I said, if you keep engaging, and the more you engage and write and send us messages in the chat, we will send you a free copy of this book, an e-copy of this book. I'll send you the code, and definitely you'll be able to get that. So, what does grief mean to you? Secondly, how do you envision grace guiding you through this journey? So, when to take it first, what does grief mean to me? So, before we look at what grief means to us, you should know that there are different kinds of grief. I know a lot of us know that. We've talked about it in some of our videos before. Anticipatory grief and the ambiguous grief. The anticipatory grief is the grief before the loss happens. You know, maybe someone is ill in your household, or you are ill and you're grieving it, or they just give you bad news, or you expecting a bad report and you're grieving that. That is grief, anticipatory grief. What about the ambiguous one? It is grieving something that is uncertain or unresolved. And what is the disenfranchised grief? It is the grief that society might not even recognize as valid. So those are some of it. So now the metaphor for understanding what grief is that I like to think of grief as waves. It comes in small ripples or overwhelming tsunami, but is always changing. Okay? So, like I said, if you know you finish writing it down, what grief means to you, put it down, put your thoughts in the social media, write it, send us a message, send us messages. Thank you for sending, and write it in your notes and say, yes, this is what grief is all about. This is what grief means to me. Tell us what you're going through right now. Okay? share your thoughts, and you can send us a voice note. You can send it to my DM. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You can find my personal page on Facebook on Ruth Hepzibah. You can send me a personal DM, or you can send me an email on grief2gracenow@gmail.com. Okay, so when you grief means, what does grief means to you? I want us to really reflect on that because I know a lot of people are writing down. So write it. Grief means to me personally, for me. When I say grief, if I remember what grief is, wow, hmm, grief is like a teacher. I'm telling you. Before grief, I was impatient. Grief taught me a lot of patience. Grief taught me a lot of resilience. Grief taught me the importance of learning and relearning. Grief taught me the importance of starting over again. Grief taught me the importance of leaning on others. I used to be that person that couldn't ask. I will never ask you for help. Grief taught me to ask. Grief taught me it was painful. I had to struggle through it. But what do you think about a single mother whose it wasn't my intention to be that, and life happened? Death came, and you just need to lean on others. And that was what grief taught me. Grief is a teacher. Grief taught me how to change my pain into purpose. Grief taught me how to do businesses or get started in something and it fails, and you do it again and again and again and over again till you get it right. You keep trying out different things until you get that thing that God has proposed for you. That is what grief taught me. Grief taught me never to see myself as a failure. Grief taught me that this moment that I am in is a season for my uplifting. So, what has grief taught you? What does it mean to you? What does grief mean to you? Because different cultures have different views about grief and different traditions. And I'm definitely there are some very chronic traditions I think we need to talk about sometime, but it is really personal. So now the next one we asked was how grace has guided you in this journey. So I just want you to take a reflection, like a guided reflection right now. Close your eyes and imagine holding your grief gently, as if it is so fragile. Whatever your grief is, maybe it's your divorce, maybe it's the death of your loved one, maybe it's the loss of your job. Hold it so like this. Hold it in your hand. Hold it, guide it. Then picture a warm light of grace surrounding you, softening the heaviness. I can feel it all around me. You know, just picture it. Picture it. you'll see that everything will take away all of the heaviness from you right now. So, how did that exercise feel? Did it bring up anything new for you? When you feel like you're stuck in grief, do this reflection. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Send me a message, send me DMs, engage more. Let us know how you feel. Because the grace of God abounds. Grace is the compassion and understanding that we extend to ourselves and others, especially in hard times. And the way that we can invite grace into ourselves is by having self compassion, which is one, be kind to yourself when emotions overwhelm you, be patient because healing takes time. There is no right time or right way to grieve. If anybody tells you this is the right way to grieve, that person is lying. Everybody's grief is different. So healing takes time, but how long you want it is dependent on you. Forgiveness. We cannot stop talking about forgiveness because you need to learn to release the guilt and the anger where and when possible. Forgive yourself, forgive the situation, forgive others. Forgiveness is key to healing, whether physical healing or spiritual healing or healing of grief, whatever you need healing for, forgiveness is key. So I really want you to share your stories as much as you can. But there is this action step that is there, which is for you to take a moment and journal all of your thoughts this today, because tomorrow we'll be back again for the next one, which is acknowledging your grief. So take a moment this day, today, sit down, take time and journal your thoughts and your feelings about grief and about grace. Allow yourself to be honest because if you want to be healed, you need to tell yourself the truth. If you want healing of any kind in your journey, you need to learn to tell yourself the truth. Okay? So you need to be honest and you need to be vulnerable. When you're writing, most times we cry. You are releasing something when you cry. Don't hold it back. When you finish, wipe your tears and continue. Okay? So those are the action steps that we'll be doing today. So I just want to give you a recap of what we've done so far. Today we started our book, which is A Pen That Rewrites Grief. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on our store in our website, grief2graceinternational.org. When I say grief to grace, I mean grief, the letter to grace international.org, and you can get it also on, for those that need the ebook, the free copies. If you go to Apple Store, you will find a pen that writes grief there. So I want you to get a copy and join us. Sorry, I like reading book. I'm not really much of into reading like digital, so you see me always reading from here. So I like having my hard copies all the time. Um, so I want you to get a copy of your book. We just talked about grief because grief is universal yet deeply personal, and grace is a powerful tool to guide us through it. So we need grace in this journey, and God is giving us double grace. Today, we said that you should write your thoughts about what is grief, what it means to you personally, and envision how grace is guiding you through this journey. And also, if you know that this episode resonated with you, and you know someone who needs it, who needs to be unstuck, because most people always think grief is about the death of somebody. No. If I'm not moving forward and I have a lot of trauma in my body, don't worry, we'll talk about the trauma in your hip, in your everywhere where it's stored, you know. So you need to release it. So if you need, and if you feel stuck in your job, you feel stuck in your life, you're not moving, you like you're moving in a circle, you need this book, okay? So you need to be part of this. In the next 60 days, we will do this here every day. So if it resonates with you, share it. Share it, click on the share button and share with somebody. Invite someone to join. And I would also like to hear from you. I love to hear people's thoughts. I always like reviews. I like when people tell me how they feel about our story. So just leave a review, send your story. You want to share your story, you think you have a grief story, we have a storytelling platform, which is Grief to Grace Story. You feel you want to share your reflections, we have a reflection trans platform. So please just join us and share and share and share. I cannot but keep begging you to share and liking us and giving us those stars and those loves, because we use all of these to help somebody. So the next one tomorrow is acknowledging your grief. So how do you acknowledge your grief? So we'll definitely be looking at that tomorrow. So we'll be doing in uh because this is going to take like more of our meditation sessions this period. So we'll be doing a meditation session with acknowledging your grief tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am your host, Ruth Epsiba, and I love you. Thank you for always joining. Thank you for all those loves. I'm saying thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the messages. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. And I know that you will surely be blessed. Have a very blessed day.